Hello and welcome. Today we're gonna do some staple and stinker. Today we have four of us with a Yu-Gi-Oh player, and we're gonna rate some Magic the Gathering cards. Tell us a little about yourself.
Well, what do I say? Via go by, I'm a badass from the Red Sea. I go by he or she pronouns, but it doesn't matter to me because I'm a splendor for every gender. I usually play, I play some Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel here and there, and I play like goofy and horror stuff all the time. That's what I'm about, baby.
Okay, that's cool. So we're gonna rate some Magic the Gathering. So what do you know about Magic?
I almost know nothing about Magic the Gathering. I've maybe seen one of my friends play it a couple of times, and I'm like, this looks a little confusing.
You play Yu-Gi-Oh! Yu-Gi-Oh's that's the confusing game.
I mean, fair, but I grew up into it, so I feel like the learning was it eased me into it, as opposed to me recently starting it.
So I have 10 cards for you. You will be rating these cards. They will either be a staple or they will either be a stinker. If we do any future episodes, I might add some cards that might be meh, or but for now I wanted to keep it simple. They're either a staple or either a stinker. I want everyone to know that I'm mostly coming from I mainly play Commander. That's my main format, but I'll keep Eternal formats in mind in general. But this won't be about Standard, just so anyone knows. So let's get into it. We're gonna start with card number 1, and card number 1 will be a one with nothing.
Discard your hand. Why would you do that?
You tell me.
What? That looks like a stinker because I can't wrap my brain around. Why would you throw away your entire hand? What?
So
what is that supposed to serve?
Do you know how the rules of Magic kind of work?
Not really.
Okay. I think that's the basics. I don't think you need to know more for now.
Okay.
Okay. So you say this card is a stinker?
Yeah. Unless you're are you able to pay mana to draw cards? I guess from my understanding, or how does
so
drawing work?
you have cards that you have draw cards, like for example draw 2 cards for 3 mana. This card is an instant. Instant means you can use it during your opponent's turn, it's like a quick play or a trap card. Sorcery means it's only during your turn, like a normal spell card.
I still don't see how discarding unless you're trying to mill, but then you'd still end up with 1 card in your hand next turn, so I don't necessarily see how that's beneficial.
Okay, so your final answer is a stinker?
Yes.
Okay, so this card was actually played once competitively to counter a very specific deck, but overall it's a stinker. You're correct. This card is no good in general.
It's trash.
it was side decked once, and that's it. Okay, so we go to the next card. Card number 2, Llanowar Elves. It's a 1 mana 1/1 creature, includes 1 green, and its ability, you can turn it sideways and you add 1 green. Creatures have summoning sickness in Magic, so you can't use them until the next turn or attack with them.
I'm guessing I'm gonna say staple.
Why is that?
Anything, I don't know, I'm just going off basic reading knowledge, I guess. But anything that helps you add stuff, cause what does that tree mean? Is that mana, or is that
So if you play a forest, like a green land, you can tap it to pay for 1 mana. But this one is basically like an extra forest, because you can only play 1 land card per turn. But with this one, you basically get an extra 1 per turn, but it's on top of a creature that can more easily die. Lands are the hardest to remove in Magic, while creatures are the easiest to remove, and you have artifacts and enchantments, which are continuous spells and traps. Those are in the middle.
I still want to say staple, because I guess if you have already a pretty beefy board, assuming getting anything for free is like good.
Yeah, it's not free though. You do have to pay 1 green mana to cast this card. It says so in the top right.
Well, it's still a trade-off because it's like you spend 1 green to get like 2 benefits. So
You get a
I
1/1,
guess it's a min.
and you can tap it. But creatures cannot use their abilities or attack until the turn after. They can block immediately, but they can't attack or use their abilities until the turn after. Unless they have haste. That's an ability.
Then, I mean, if that case, then I don't know. You know what? I'm gonna stick to my guns. I'm still gonna say it, like, you know, staple.
Okay, so this card is definitely a staple. You can play it turn 1. Like, you play it first, you play this card, and then turn 2, you play another land. It's like you're already on turn 3. You have 3 mana on turn 2. Meanwhile, the opponent only has, like, it costs you a card. But this card propels your early turns forward, and that can just snowball really hard. Yes.
And I'd imagine it's like, you know, instead of like hoping for luck of you getting a land, you just get a straight up land.
You still have to draw this too, so.
Well, yeah, of course, but like if you have it sitting in your hand and you're like, oh, I have no more lands, just plop this bad boy down.
Yeah. It's mainly good book for the early like acceleration. He has lots of these cards. We call them mana dorks. They cost 1 and tap for 1. Okay, so we'll go to the next card. This is card number 3. Brainstorm. Brainstorm is an instant. It costs 1 blue. When you draw 3 cards, then put 2 cards from your hand on the top of your library back in any order.
I'm gonna say staple because the card looks cool.
Because your card looks cool.
Yeah, why wouldn't you want that in your deck? Like, come on now, look at it.
Brainstorm. Yeah, so this card, it's an instant, and it basically allows you to draw 3 cards from the top of your deck, and then put 2 cards back on top of your deck. So you don't plus. You don't actually go plus though.
But it's still like it still seems pretty cool because like you can basically, if you have crap in your hand, you can be like, oh, well, let's fix that by, you know.
And the only downside is, you're gonna draw that crap again next turn then.
Maybe or maybe not. It's by chance, but at least you get a chance to jump out whatever bad cards you have, I would imagine. So I'm gonna stick with staple.
Okay, so Brainstorm is one of the most busted cards ever. So what you do, right? You activate this, you get rid of your garbage or your expensive stuff, and then you just use a card that shuffles your deck.
See, I knew it. Any card that looks really
This is
cool
like, it's
has to
only
be
1 mana.
strong.
You can do it in your opponent's turn, and it filters so much. It's the best filter card in the game. It's banned in multiple formats, I think. Okay, so we go to the next card. Card number 4. Scalding Tarn. So, Scalding Tarn is a land. It allows you to pay 1 life, sacrifice Scalding Tarn. You can search your library for an island or a mountain card and then put it on the battlefield and shuffle.
I feel like we're getting a lot of like staples here. I feel like you're throwing an oddball at me right now.
And who knows? I just picked some cool cards for you to read, you know.
True. It's bold of you to assume I knew how to read because I'm a YuGiOh player.
Yeah, at least there's not a whole novel on the cards like Yu-Gi-Oh. It's like one paragraph at most.
I'm gonna say since you can only play 1 land per turn.
So the ability does not count as playing an additional land. You can play 1. It's like a normal summon. You can play 1 land a turn, but you can put as many lands on the board with other abilities or spells or. So one thing to note: every card in Magic is a spell. So when it's a spell, it's every card. Yeah.
So, but you can have multiple lands on the field, right? So, like, let's say you can put this land down, and then next turn you can use like the effect.
You can use it immediately because lands don't have summoning sickness.
Oh, so like, can you put? Okay, so what I'm assuming, can you put multiple lands like down in 1 turn?
No, 1 per turn. But there are some effects. There are like cards that say 2 mana, get a basic land from your deck, put it onto the field tapped, so it's already used. There are some spells in the game, some sorceries and instants that pull extra lands from your deck onto the board. With it's called ramping, but the downside is you can't use those lands that turn usually.
Okay.
So you're giving up tempo to get more resources.
I guess staple because like you pay a life and it's like, all right, I have this land. Now I get a guaranteed one of those 2 lands.
You do
next turn
sacrifice
to
this
play.
land. You have to tribute this land though. That's the thing.
Oh.
It says sacrifice is tribute. So you send this one to the graveyard basically, and then you get a forest or an island, island or a mountain. So you're basically trading this land, paying 1 life for a land from your deck. Staple. Yeah. So this card at one point cost as much as like Sinful Spoils. I'm pretty sure. Like $80. Fetchlands are really strong because like if you play decks with multiple colors, you really want to have your colors, right? Let's say you play a blue and a red deck. Let's say you only open islands, you can't cast any of the red cards. But this one allows you to grab like the one you're missing. Let's say you have an island, you can grab a mountain. And then even more, there's lands that can tap for multiple types of mana. And some of those you can grab with this too. So it's consistency basically. You give up some life for consistency. Yeah, this is a definite staple. This like fetchlands. Any format you can play fetchlands, you basically play the full suite of fetchlands.
Ooh, got you.
Yes.
See, I'm smarticles, you know.
Okay, so we go to card number 5, which is Army of the Damned.
Oh, that name sounds cool.
So Army of the Damned is 5 mana of any color, and 3 black specifically. It's a sorcery, which means it's a spell speed 1. And you create 13 tapped 2/2 black zombie creature tokens. And then it has flashback, which means you can cast it again from your graveyard. Flashback, you pay 7 and 3 black. You may cast it from your graveyard and then you exile it, which is banish.
I'm gonna say stinker.
And why do you think this is a stinker?
Cause the card is ugly.
I mean, it's black. Black is like zombies and that kind of stuff. Skeletons, demons.
It's still a little sus that there's a lot of staples you're presenting to me, so I'm gonna say stinker.
Stinker. Is that your final answer?
Yes.
Yes. Oh yeah, this is a stinker. 13 zombies is a lot, but for 8 mana, you can for 8 mana like you can do way better. It's not good enough. For 8 mana, you can do way better. And like even with the graveyard effect, you're just paying even more for like It's not a bad effect. It just costs too much for the mana.
It's not worth the cost you put into it. Like the moment I saw the big number, I'm like, that's awkward.
Okay, so we go to card number 6. Surgery Refugee. This is a land card. It enters the battlefield tapped. When Surgery Refugee enters the battlefield, you gain 1 life and it taps for either a white or a blue.
Oh, staple.
Staple.
Absolutely.
Why do you think it's a staple?
Because all I see is its benefits. Like when it enters the field, you gain some health and you add like one of those 2 cards. Of course.
Colors. It taps for either white or blue, but it does enter tapped. That's the downside. When you
What does tap to mean again?
When you tap a land, it means you turn it sideways and then you get mana for that turn. This land enters tapped already, so you can tap it the turn. And you play it, but all your lands untap at the start of your turn, which means you can use it next turn onward. So that's the downside, but it adds a blue or a white. So instead of 1 color, like a basic land, it adds 1 of 2. And you gain a life when you play it.
So yes, I would say staple.
Okay, so this card is horrible. It enters tapped. Like, you're basically turned behind when you play this. It enters tapped. That's all. If a land enters tapped, you're basically turned behind on mana. And it has to do something really good for you to want to play it. Gaining 1 life it ain't it. It's not good enough.
But then a free card.
Yes. Okay, so we go to card number 7. Lotus Petal. It's an artifact, which is like a continuous spell or trap card. We have artifacts and enchantments. They're like continuous cards. They stay on the board. They're different, but they basically function the same. So Lotus Petal. Add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. When you sacrifice it, you can play it for 0.
Lotus Petal. Your mana pool staple.
Staple. The thing is though, like you sacrifice it, So you basically it's like a land you can only use once.
But you said artifacts are like continuous spells?
Yeah, but this one says sacrifice it when you use its ability, which is tribute. So this one costs 0 to play. It's like a land.
So it's like
you
free
play
to play.
It's free to play, but it adds 1 mana like a land, but it dies when you do it. You can only use it once.
Still gonna go with stable because it's like a spell card, so it just adds 1 mana of any color. I'd say like that's pretty versatile.
Yeah, so this card is really good. I'm not sure I would call it a total staple, but it's pretty bonkers because you give a 1 card advantage for a tempo advantage. You basically throw away the card to gain tempo, which is pretty strong. So yeah, it's like I don't know how to explain YuGiOh.
No, but like I get you. Like you either way, like you get a card advantage, and that's like fantastic in any sort of game, I would say. And the fact that like it says like any color, I think that stuff that runs
you give up
multiple
card
colors,
advantage. You give up card advantage to go faster. That's basically it. It's good if you open it. Also you get some there's some combos you can do with this. So.
Okay, got you.
Okay, so we go to the next card. Number 8. I wonder what you think of this one. Force of Will.
You may pay 1 life and exile a blue card from your hand. That looks dope.
Yeah, so it costs 5. But instead of paying 5, you can also pay life and banish a blue card from your hand. And then play it for free. It basically negates a card. It's just a negate. It's an omni negate basically.
Staple.
And so one thing I'll explain, the way it works is your lands all untap at the start of your turn. But you can keep them. You don't have to use them. You can keep some lands open. And then if you want to use an instant, you have to tap them in your opponent's turn. So it's like a trade-off. Do I tap them now to add friends on my board? Or do I keep mana open for my opponent's turns to stop them? Yeah, why do you think it's a staple though?
Because you said the word omni negate, and my brain is easily like.
Blue has a lot of cards that negate. This is a staple. Blue basically is negates. A staple of blue is negates. Let me look up. Blue is like the negates. The negate color. I'll send you one other card real quick, which is like the standard they print in every set. It's called Cancel. As you can see, 3 mana counter. Blue has a lot of them. Usually it's 3 mana counter a spell, and it's like 2 mana counter a spell conditionally. So counter a creature spell, or counter specifically a sorcery, or instant. This one counters anything for 5, but you can also just go down in card advantage to cast it for free.
So I'm guessing still staple?
Okay, so this card is really strong, and the reason that is you're basically playing a hand trap in a game where stuff costs mana. You're playing stuff for free. You're playing a free hand trap in a game where people have to pay mana for things. You can basically full commit. You can commit to your board, tap out all your mana, full commit, and then just have this in your hand. Your opponent might even think, oh, they don't have anything, so I can just go for it, and just nope.
You just surprise them.
Yeah.
Not in my house. Shoot,
you're doing pretty good. You're doing pretty good. I don't want to make it too hard for the first time. But here we go. Card number 9. Diabolic Tutor. It's a sorcery. It costs 2 mana of any color and 2 black. It says it says search your library for a card, put it into your hand, and then shuffle.
So library is like, deck.
Yes.
I didn't shuffle your library. So and it costs like what, 2 mana?
It's 2 of any color and 2 black specifically.
Oh, so it's 4.
Yeah, 4 mana. You search library for any card, put it into your hand, then you shuffle. It's a simple effect.
Is there any cards like that?
Black is the color of like searching cards. So black has more ways to search cards. Other colors usually like have some search card, but it's only for specific stuff in their color. Well, black is the color of having cards that like search any card at all. Like green can search lands, blue can sometimes search instants or sorceries. Green can also search creatures, but black is like the color of search whatever you want.
So most of them are search whatever you want.
Only for black. For other colors, it's like more restricted. Yeah, green can mainly search creatures or land, for example. That's their kind of thing. Blue can search instants and sorceries. Red doesn't search. White can like search small creatures, often small creatures specifically, but
okay.
And
so
artifacts.
Most of black can search anything, right?
Not most of black, but there are some cards.
He look gross, so I'm gonna go with Stinker.
Stinker. So searching any card you want to your hand is it's a really strong effect, right? Just not for 4 mana. It's a little too much to be playable. 4 mana is too much. You usually want to keep it at like ideally you want 2 mana. You have another one which just makes you lose life for 2 mana. You have one which is 2 mana, sacrifice a creature, search any card, which is better than like paying 4 for basically like do nothing until next turn, or unless you can cast it now. You'll also have a 3 mana one. You'll also lose 3 life when you use that one. It's a bit better. It does see play, but even for 3 mana, it's like a little iffy. It's not like YuGiOh. Like YuGiOh, you search a card, you can just play it. You know, in Magic, you pay mana to search the card, and then you have to pay again.
You have to make some sacrifices.
Yeah.
It's too expensive.
You pay mana to search the card, and then you also have to pay mana to play the card you searched. So it's not free.
Hey, Beto.
You're doing really well. I'm not sure if I made it too easy, but
no, I'm literally half of these. I'm kind of just winging. I'm just like, ugly means bad.
Okay, so here we have our final card. On number 10. Mael's Araya. It costs 1 red, 1 green, and 1 white. It's an enchantment, so it stays on the board. It says at the beginning of your upkeep. Your upkeep is your standby phase. In Magic, it happens before the draw phase, instead of after. Put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control, if you control a creature power 5 or greater. Then you gain 10 life if you control a creature with power 10 or greater. Then you win the game if you control a creature with 20 or greater.
Stinker.
Why do you think this is a stinker?
Too much reading.
Too much. You play YuGiOh.
Okay, true, but in Yu-Gi-Oh, I play decks whose effects are literally summon one thing, summon another, and then punch your opponent. That's literally my style. I don't read.
The way this card works though is like it rewards you for having big creatures, you know? If you have a big thing, you get a +1/+1 each creature you control, which is like it buffs them permanently. You gain 10 life if you control 10 or greater. Like you start with 20 life in 1v1. In Commander, you start with 40 life, so that's either like 50% of your life. It would be like either gaining 4,000 or 8,000 life points, basically. And 20 or greater is you win the game. That's really hard to do compared to the other two, of course.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna still assuming it's a stinker, mainly because it's like a heavy criteria, right? It reminds me of that one Snake Goddess card that it's like, you know, if you like summon this and it has like this X amount of cards thrown away, you instantly win, or like a Ouija board. Because it takes a lot in order for it to like be beneficial. I think it's a stinker, but it's one of those things to where it's probably very satisfying if it works. Assuming.
Yeah, so one thing with this card is it costs 3, which is it's not much. It costs 1 of each different color, so you have to play those colors specifically, and you have to play those 3 in your deck, specifically, which it's not that bad a requirement, but it is something. The problem is you play it and it does nothing.
You offer it. It's just there.
Yeah, it's just there. And then for it to do something, you need to control a big creature. So let's say you play this turn 3 or turn 2. Probably turn 3, because you need 3 different colors. You're not gonna have that 5-power creature, so it's still gonna do nothing. Getting 1+1 counter on all your creatures is not bad. The thing is, like, that's nice if you go wide, but this card wants you to go tall. It wants you to have one big thing. So it doesn't even work, like, it doesn't even synergize well with what it wants to do. The life gain is nice, but life gain is like, it's only really, it's like YuGiOh, you know. Life gain is good in decks where you want to gain life, but otherwise it's like, whatever.
It's very niche.
And the last effect is like, it has to survive a whole turn. Like, even when you get to 20 power or greater, you then have to survive, this card has to survive a whole turn cycle. It's probably just not gonna happen.
Yeah, so it's not worth, like, it's one of those, like,
you just win more.
Want it to win. Right.
It's win more.
Like Exodia.
I mean, like, Exodia won a tournament recently, so, you know.
Really?
Yeah, it won a tournament.
I'm so proud.
And people have been playing it in ranked. It's a Scareclaw Pendulum deck. Like, it's like FTK. You tutor all the pieces. You search them all.
Wait, really? I gotta see the deck list for that then. Because I love using Exodia so much.
Yeah.
Because I have like 4 versions of it, and I just like you summoning it in the most goofiest ways possible.
Yeah, it's straight up the it's the best Exodia you can do. Yeah, the one to break even. If I look right now, January 29th, it got Master 1 deck list. On 23, another deck list called Master 5, and December, another deck list called Master 1. So it's playable and you can win. But yeah, those are all the cards though.
Do some research.
So thank you for being on. And I hope we can maybe do this again. It was really fun. Raiding magic cards as a YuGiOh player, but if we do that, I'll make it harder next time.
No, I'll take the challenge. I got 9 out of, I think, what, 9 out of 10?
Let me look. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You got 9 out of 10, actually.
Hey,
you did really well.
I got powers.
So the one thing I want to do with this series, if I get other people on, the one thing I don't like from this kind of series is that they often don't use the same cards with multiple people, even though they've not seen them yet. I get that that's for variety, but I want to see everyone react to like Pot of Desires, you know? I want to see every non-YuGiOh react to that. Yeah, so like, and like reuse some cards if anyone's watching, please tell me what you think, if I should reuse some cards that are fun to react to, or if I should just try to use more different cards every episode. Okay, so thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.
Thank you for having me. Adios.